Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Manga Review, and today, as you can see from the title, it's a little bit different, not something that I usually do. It's episode 29.5, because I guess this is just an addition to the last video I did, where I covered Demon Slayer Volume 23, and then I said I wanted to sort of do a video reviewing the entire series as a whole, and I felt like when it came to that last volume, I didn't really, I was coming off the hype of the series ending, and I just needed to gather my thoughts and what I think overall about it. So that's what this video is for. It's just in addition to the last video, pretty much, because I am going to be talking about stuff from Volume 23. So it could be like its own standalone thing, but I just made it like an add-on almost, so it's 29.5. So before we do get started, I was gonna end up making a like a normal manga review today. I was gonna do Naruto, but we ended up going to, where did we go? We went to a few stores because we actually went back to school shopping today. So I wasn't expecting to actually do that today. That was supposed to be something we do in like a few days or next week or something. I think we were actually going to do that on Friday, but yeah, my mom just took us today to go do it. So I ended up not doing the manga review. In fact, when we came home, we went right to the pool for like an hour or two, and then I worked out, and then ate dinner and stuff. So I didn't have a lot of time to sit down and read manga and make a video on it today. So, but yeah, I had planned out this video yesterday, last night, and I have all my notes and stuff. So I wanted to make at least a video today, but I wasn't going to do a manga review of Naruto just because, like I said, I don't have enough time. So since I have everything planned out, I'm just going to do this video. So yeah. I just wanted to let you guys know why there's no Naruto manga review today. But yeah, anyways, let's get into this review. Alright guys, so not really before we get started, this is actually part of the review. I'll have it be known that Demon Slayer as a franchise, as a series, as a whole, is one of my personal favorites. I really freaking enjoyed it, and as you guys know, I've talked about it so much. I've did so many reviews on it. I own several pieces of merchandise, and it's easily top 3 for me. Like a personal score, for me, 10 out of 10. As a series, so that includes the anime and the manga. Even the manga for me, I would probably personally give it a 10 out of 10. But that's not really the point of this video. I wanted to, try and look at it the most objective way possible, or not objective, sorry, subjective way possible. Just all bias aside, like how good was this series, which is kind of hard because it's a series that I really enjoy. But one thing that I think is important to have, a skill that's important to have these days, which I see a lot of people on the internet obviously don't have it, is that just because something is your favorite doesn't mean it's the best. Like, there are tons of series that, and like things that I love and I think personally were enjoyable and that are good. Well, not really are they good, but I like them, right? I really like something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. For example, personally, some of my favorite movies are the Resident Evil movies. I love them, but I can admit that they're freaking terrible and that nobody should watch them because they're freaking trash. It's a waste of time. But personally, I love them. Same goes with like Sword Art Online. As an anime, it gets crapped on a little too much, but I can see why. I personally like it, but that doesn't mean that it's good, So, yeah, I think that's an important skill to have. Again, like I said, especially in this day and age, I see a lot of people on the internet saying, this anime is my favorite, therefore it's the GOAT. Like, it's better than everything else. Just because it's your favorite doesn't mean that it's better than everything else or it's good. Like, it can be okay and it be your favorite, and just because it's your favorite doesn't mean it's amazing. You gotta really look at stuff subjectively, which is something that I try to do with a lot of things, including Demon Slayer here in this case. So, yeah, I took notes. I went through the timeline of the series and kind of took notes on everything that I went and looked back in my manga. This is not talking about the anime at all. This is just talking about the manga series specifically. Everything, major events and whatnot, and stuff that happened that I like personally, stuff that I think maybe should have been changed, and yeah, just general opinions on different subjects, I guess, but they follow the timeline of the series. So, first thing is, I feel like with Demon Slayer, from the beginning, we're taking it all the way back to Volume 1. Tanjiro, his family gets killed, his sister gets turned into a demon, and his entire goal is to become a demon slayer, kill the person that killed his family, and find a way to return his sister back to a human. Very simple plot, or not, well, overall general plot. Very simple goal, I guess, right? I've heard a lot of arguments against Demon Slayer. Arguments, people saying it's bad, right? Because the plot is so simple. Which doesn't make sense to me, because, in my opinion, simplicity doesn't mean bad, and complexity doesn't mean bad either. I think Demon Slayer is a series that takes simplicity and really uses it well. Like, it's a simple concept. Like, the Hoshiro are, like, there's several different subjects you can take. Like, oh, demons, pretty freaking simple. Muzan gives blood, Muzan dies, demon dies, right? So, Hoshiro, they're elements, right? Like, there's so many different simple concepts in this series, but they do it well enough that it's still it's really cool. It's easy to follow, but it isn't, like, it's not bad, you know. And there's series that do this the wrong way, that are really simple but aren't good. There's series that are very complex and very good, like, for example, JoJo or Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan's pretty freaking good. I mean, the entire, you know, setting up stuff, the whole plot, pretty complex, you know, but they do it well. And there are series that are overly complex for no reason and end up flopping, right? Demon Slayer is a series that I feel like does use simplicity well. So, I think that is a stupid argument to make, honestly, because if it wasn't good, you know, it wouldn't have one of the best-selling anime movies of all time, right? It wouldn't be outselling frickin' One Piece. You know, nothing against One Piece, because One Piece deserves all the hype, honestly, but I'm just stating the facts. I'm pretty sure it outsold One Piece, so at one point or another, in its, you know, height. But yeah, if it wasn't doing that, if it wasn't accomplishing all these records, then maybe, yeah, you can make the argument that it isn't good. But the fact that so many people are enjoying this series and it's smashing records, it's not good for no reason. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Also, a lot of people talk about the art not being that great. I agree. The art is not beautiful, especially coming like from, if you were to somebody who read something like Berserk or something like Chainsaw Man that has really detailed art. Even, was it Vagabond? I heard has pretty cool art. If you're coming off of some of those series, you know, I can understand, like, okay, yeah, Demon Slayer, in comparison to those, looks like a 4-year-old's drawing. But I think that might also go along with the simplicity aspect of it. It's just, I think it looks pretty simple. It doesn't need all these abstract and like obscure, not obscure, but grotesque like creatures and like all these like weird stuff happening in the background and all these details. I feel like the series just gives it to you plain and simple, which I can see the turnoff from there. Like, if it's not a good looking series, then why would I watch it, or not watch it, but read it, which I can definitely see. But the art being not excellent it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. It's sorry, my throat. Yeah, I didn't have too much. It's not terrible art by any means. And some of the parts, like with like what they call potato head Tanjiro, where like there's those scenes where they're looking weird, and that's just because it's meant to be that way. So there's a lot of those scenes where like they're drawn weird and kind of oddly like cartoony. Like, I say cartoony, they are cartoons, but like not detailed and like all rounded and weird looking. But that's the whole point. So yeah, those are just like more like Demon Slayer at its core type things. Not really, you know, plot stuff. So I'm gonna get into plot stuff now. So if we take volumes 1 through 7, the first training arc, like the training arc being when he's on the mountain with Urokodaki, and the final selection stuff, like from the beginning of the series up until when the anime leaves off, is peak manga in my opinion. Like, the story, great. It sets everything up in that first 7 volumes. You already get a fight against one of the bosses, pretty much, you know, bosses, the 12 Kizuki, Rui. So you get all of that. You're, you know, setting up the big boss demons later on in the series. But you also get to know and meet Zenitsu and Inosuke. You get to meet Tamayo and stuff. All this stuff that, yeah, it spends time building those characters and their relationship together. Like, by the end of that chunk of the series, you already know, oh, Inosuke did that because that's Inosuke's character. You know, you're able to, because sometimes I feel like if they didn't spend the time to build those characters and they just had the characters act a certain way, you'd be like, why are they acting that way? Why did he do that? But because they spent the time building up like interactions and stuff between the characters, you know why the character does things the way they do. It's because that's just part of their character, you know, which I really like. So yeah, that whole chunk. So volumes 1, I guess 1 through 7 or so, because volume 8 is the Mugen Train. So volume 7 is, or volume 1 through 7 is just peak manga. Peak manga storytelling, and just overall really enjoyed it. So another point is that the Mugen Train, you know, they made the movie off of it. The movie was smashing box office records for it being, like, I think it either is the best-selling anime movie of all time, or is like top 3. I'm not exactly sure, I don't remember, but I think it might be the best-selling anime movie of all time. I think, or maybe, I'm sorry, maybe Pokemon the first movie is. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember, but it's one of the biggest. It's made millions and millions. I think maybe even $1 billion. I can't remember. It's been a while since I looked at it, but I do know that it is smashing records. Or I say smashing records. It's no longer in theaters, but it did smash records when it was in theaters. So that made that whole arc, the Mugen Train, really hyped for many people. But for me personally, it was a decent arc. Like, if you looked at it, the movie aside, just in the manga, it was okay. Because the reason I say that is, I think one thing that's important about the Mugen Train arc is you get another 12 Kizuki, which is important. Well, actually, you get 2 Akaza. But it's the first arc that really showcases the Hashira. I mean, we saw Giyu and Shinobu before, but like when those were the only Hashira we knew. But then there's all these other Hashira that we meet later on. You know, when Tanjiro's at Butterfly Mansion, we see all the Hashira. And so what I liked about Demon Slayer is that it showed you all these characters, and then it sends you off and you focus on the Hashira, like different Hashira specifically. You get to know their characters in different arcs. So like, you know, you go to Butterfly Mansion, Tanjiro's there, and there's the whole council of Hashira. Then he goes off, right, finishes his rehabilitation, and then goes off with Rengoku. Then comes back, goes off with Tengen. You learn more about Tengen. Comes back, goes off with Tokito, and he finds Tokito and what's her name, Mitsuri, and then he comes back, goes again. You know, like, he's spending time each arc with a different Hashira specifically. So that Mugen Train was one of the first instances when we saw that happen, because he went off and met with sorry, there's a fly right here. I might have to pause the video just to kill it or get it out of here. But it was one of the first instances when we really saw, you know, that whole formula, you know, set up. But overall, Mugen Train was way overhyped. Like, it was a cool arc, don't get me wrong, but I think the reason why it's so overhyped is just because of the movie. There were some cool moments, you know, the fight with Akaza at the end was really good. But one thing about that, though, that I think kind of made me not like Mugen Train a lot, everybody's talking about, oh, Rengoku, so sad he died. I wasn't that sad when he died. And the reason why is I feel like Rengoku died way too quick. You know, we're supposed to, you know, we get introduced to him in the first bits of the manga, volume 8, I mean, the Mugen Train, right? We get introduced to him, and the characters get to know him, and almost immediately they're treating him like a god. Like, right, they get all this attachment to him basically off the bat, and then he just straight up dies at the end of the volume, and everybody's crying and stuff, and they set up like, oh, let's go see Rengoku's family and stuff. Like, we're really supposed to be invested in this character and like feel bad for him dying and stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, him dying was like, he was a dope character and didn't deserve to go out like that. He definitely he deserved better, I think, because, I don't know, they just made it seem like we're supposed to have this connection to this character and be sad when he dies in the same volume he's basically introduced in. Like, I don't care, really. He's a cool character, but I don't really care about this character. I was just introduced to them, and I have no reason to really feel anything for this character dying, you know? So I felt like the effect that they were going for with Rengoku dying didn't really land on me, just because, like I said, they didn't spend enough time with Rengoku's character. So, yeah, that's just me, and that's part of the reason why I think the Mugen Train was a little overhyped. And not only that, but something kind of dumb. I mean, Akaza just kind of showed up randomly at the end, and it was like it was cool, like, oh, you think the fight's over, psych, you know? But it's like, why are you here? That was like another thing, a problem I had with Mugen Train, and Akaza showing up just didn't really make any sense, but it added for like a cool fight at the end. I definitely think that the anime is better than the manga, and that in the Mugen Train movie, they definitely achieved that effect. I wouldn't say achieved it, but like they definitely did it better in the movie. That whole scene, better. They did most. Yeah, I feel like they did that scene and the fight way better in the anime than they did in the manga. Personally, I don't know. That's just yeah. But then after, I guess before or after, Tanjiro was gonna ask, what's his name? Oh yeah, Rengoku, about the flame breathing or the fire breathing, sun breathing, whatever. And he ends up going over to his father and stuff, and finds out he's a jerk, and then talks to his brother, gets the hilt. That whole thing was kind of cool, I guess. I liked the idea. Tanjiro getting his new sword because he threw his at Akaza, which is freaking stupid. But him getting his new sword and the, what is it? I guess maybe he doesn't use the hilt yet, I guess. Maybe he doesn't get the hilt until later on. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But I know that he gets the fire, like his new sword has the flame hilt on it, which is really cool. I like that whole idea. And his blade turns different color. So like he had the black blade, but then it turned red at one point, I remember. But yeah, the whole switch from the point I'm trying to make is when he gradually switches from like using his water breathing and stuff over to focusing on the Hinokami Kagura and stuff like that. The switch from water to fire was really cool, and I definitely really liked the way they did that when he was fighting Rui, where he went for the water dragon, but then like transformed the water dragon into the fire dragon with the Hinokami Kagura. That was definitely really cool. So yeah, the switch from water to fire is cool, and him gaining Rengoku's like flame hilt thing was also really cool. But then in the next arc, we do the whole Tengen thing. I thought that the Entertainment District arc was really good, better than the Mugen Train arc, I'd say. I don't know if it was better than the previous stuff before the whole, before Mugen Train, everything before that. I don't know if Entertainment District is better than that, but it was definitely really good. We saw the fight with Daki and her brother, which that was really cool. Nezuko getting an upgrade, that whole thing. Oh, there's the fly. Nezuko's upgrade was really cool when we saw her fight Daki. And overall, also the part when they had to dress up like girls to get into that mansion, everything that happened there was really cool. And it was the first time that they did one of those things where it's like when they're fighting one of the demons and they chop off its head, other than Rui, because we saw Rui do that where he chopped off his head, but then he cut off his own head, so it didn't work. But with Daki and her brother, whose name I can't remember, when Tanjiro fought them, he cut off their heads, or cut off her head, but then the reason why it didn't work is because there was two heads, and he had to find out, oh crap, well, I gotta go. So the other one cut them off simultaneously. They do that later on. It's like somewhat of a continuing theme in the in the series, where it's like, oh, you cut off his head. Well, it's not the real body. You gotta, go find the real, like, core or whatever. So yeah, that district was, or the Entertainment District arc was really good. I enjoyed that arc quite a bit. Probably top 3, maybe. And then the Swordsman Village arc afterwards. I don't know if it's actually called Swordsman Village. That's just what I call it. Just because, or Blacksmith Village rather, because they're not really swordsmen. They craft swords. I like that arc quite a bit too. Muichiro, Tokido, and then Mitsuri Kanroji. That whole part was pretty cool. With, I didn't like the Kiseki there that they fought, like the weird fish thing. Wasn't it a fish? I think the weird pot fish thing, and then there was the there was the 3 weird Tengu looking dudes. Wasn't a huge fan of the villains in that arc. Personally, I just wasn't a huge fan. I did like that we got development on Genya's character, because Genya was ended up being a really cool character. Like, he's a total D-bag at first. Like most characters in Demon Slayer are really terrible at first, but then you grow to really like them. Like Inosuke, I did not like at first. Now Inosuke is probably my favorite character. Same with Tengen. Tengen was a D-bag, then he became a cool character. Same with Genya, Shinagizawa. Basically everyone. Except for, like, I feel like everyone except for Mitsuri, because I feel like Mitsuri was, like, likable from the start. But, like, Iguro was also, like, I did not like him at all. So, yeah. And that, I guess, a little off topic, but I guess that's another thing the whole Butterfly Mansion thing did well, is because they're all wanting Nezuko dead. And like when Tanjiro first goes to Butterfly Mansion after he fights Rui, they all want him dead, and Nezuko dead. So you can see that everybody hates them pretty much. So you like almost subconsciously are like, oh, so therefore they don't like main character, they want main character dead. Okay, I don't like these characters. So it makes you automatically dislike all of them, then just so that they can go in and build on those characters and then make you like them. So it doesn't like make you like them right away. You meet them, you dislike them, but then gradually grow to like them, which I do like. That was really cool. And they did that again with Genya at the the final selection. You didn't like him at first, and then you don't like him when they meet again, but then you grow to like him. So I think that's something that might be a trick that they did, like, sort of. So yeah, that whole thing, the Swordsman Village arc was pretty good. Didn't like the bad guys in that arc. Definitely like the Entertainment District more. Then, I believe after that, we have the Hoshiro Training Arc, and this is where I felt like the story started. I liked the direction that the story was going in, but this is where it overall started to go downhill, where it started to get really rushed, and then, once it became really rushed, everything went downhill from there. So the Hoshiro Training Arc, I definitely think should have lasted longer. Like, we would just get, the whole point was that Tanjiro was supposed to be training with each Hashira, and then we just see him for, like, with Iguro or something. It was just like a few panels that he was with them, with each Hashira. I felt like they should have spent more time with, like, the actual training. And maybe one thing I liked about the training scenes in Naruto is that, for example, in Naruto Shippuden, in the anime, or even early on or like around early 30s volumes in Naruto, you see that he does his training when he learns about chakra natures and stuff. The training actually has payoff. You see he does the training with Yamato and Kakashi, and then we see that he gets the Rasen Shuriken. But And maybe if Tanjiro grew or gained like a new technique out of it, maybe that would have been cool. But he didn't really get much out of the whole training arc, so I felt like it was kind of pointless. And the fact that it was so rushed, it just had no payoff. It was like almost like as if it was filler, you know. I felt like the training arc would have been really cool. I would have liked to see a Demon Slayer training arc, but it just didn't happen the way I think it should have. Yeah, I think it should have had more payoff. Then, you know, now that was rushed, we go straight from that to Ubuyashiki. I think his name's Ubuyashiki or Ubuyashiki or whatever. When he meets with Muzan, the whole explosion at the castle, but the Butterfly Mansion, the Demon Slayer headquarters. That whole thing happens like really soon. I think that happens at that point. I'm pretty sure it does. And then once that happens, we're thrown right into the Muzan Castle arc thing, the final battle. And yeah, I wasn't a fan of how they did that. Like the whole thing exploding and all that was cool. Like Ubuyashiki, the whole thing that happened, I was okay with that. But the fact that they started rushing through this training arc and then throw us into something. Like, there was no point in the training. Like, because, I mean, maybe he got a little bit stronger, but he didn't even gain any new abilities, really. I don't think he did. To use against Muzan. And they, like I said, the whole arc where it should have been more payoff, should have been more drawn out, and really prepared themselves for Muzan. Because, I mean, I guess obviously they didn't see it coming. But I feel, yeah, they just ended that training arc too short and then threw us right into the Muzan Castle arc. And another problem I had with that is I felt like I can see Genya and Tanjiro teaming up. That's cool because I like the whole. They were the first, like Genya was like the first Demon Slayer Tanjiro ever met. And then, you know, the series ending, you know, at the very end here, the final battle, Tanjiro teams up with Genya once more. You know, he was with him from the start, and he was fighting with him till the end, you know. I really liked how that happened, but him chasing after Muzan stuff was cool, I guess. And then I felt like the whole Tamayo's poison thing that happened, I feel like that was just like a ridiculous cheat code to speed up the series and give the volumes a reason to end. Like, oh, he's weakened. I stabbed him with this. He's automatically weakened. Now we can beat him, right? And then I felt like maybe they should have waited to do that a little bit and spent more time actually fighting Muzan. I don't know. I just felt like the poison thing was almost like a scapegoat to like just end the series, because Muzan's like, oh, like this poison's making me weaker, now everybody can beat me. Oh, and then they kill him, and it didn't feel satisfying at all because they just used this poison that weakened him. We didn't see Muzan fight at its full strength. And maybe we never would be able to because Muzan is just that strong. In which case, brings me back to my before point, you know, Tanjiro with that training arc should have gotten way more strong. He should have learned maybe a new technique that he could have used to fight Muzan, like a special technique, like something, like he has all the Hinokami Kagura techniques. That's cool, but there should have been like a special technique that he learns in the training arc, and then they should have saved it for the final battle, like a final strike, like something like a final, almost like an ultimate in the Super Smash Bros., right? Like something, because once you kill Muzan, you know, I felt like that's like almost game over. And of course there was a little bit of stuff that happens afterwards, which I'll get into. But there should have been, his death and everything should have been way more spectacular Tanjiro should have finished him off with like one last final blow, and it would have been really cool, like some cool technique that, you know, we didn't know we even had because he learned it, right? No, that didn't happen. Also, during that arc when they were fighting through the castle, they finally lured Muzan outside. I didn't like how Tanjiro and Genya didn't... Well, I mean, facing Akaza, I can see how facing Akaza would have paid off. I feel like... Oh, there the fly went again. I felt like they maybe should have fought Akaza earlier in the series. I felt like that should have been something that they did almost right away after Mugen Train. But, yeah. I felt like Tanjiro really should have fought against the Moon dude. Not Moon, because they are the Moons, but the what is it? The original sun-breathing user, his demon brother. Tanjiro should have fought against him. I felt like that would have made way more sense, since Tanjiro uses the Hinokami Kagura and then fights this demon and like his brother, that whole thing. But instead they just threw some random, not random demon slayers, but like demon slayers that had nothing to do with this dude at him. And it would have made way more sense for Tanjiro to fight him. Yeah, I felt like that should have been a fight. That would have been way cooler than what they did. The whole Dota, I think his name is Dota and Inosuke fight with Kanao, that was cool. I did like that fight quite a bit. Shinobu dying, pointless. That was stupid. That should not have happened. Yeah, that was just idiotic. Did not think that should have happened, but whatever. Then, let me check my... Yeah, so the upper rank battles that happened at the end there should have definitely been more spread out. I mean, having this group of Demon Slayers fight one, and then another group of Demon Slayers fight the different ranks, that was cool, I guess, but I felt like maybe it should have been more spread out, you know. I mean, overall, like I said, this ending was just ridiculously rushed, so practically everything should have been more spread out, so yeah. Muzan, though, once they get him outside, he has his whole weird form with like the like Doc Ock things, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know, like the weird spike tube things. That was cool. He has a cool appearance. Underwhelming, I will say. Okay, he's fast, he has like these weird things, but I just expected them to do this, expected the creator to do more with this character towards the end there. Maybe explore, like through Tamio, like through Dota's, or not Dota, the moon guy, I forget his name, but like I said, the sun-breathing user's brother, through his flashback, we can sort of see what happens with Muzan and Tamio, their whole thing. I felt like that was another thing for like the main bad guy. Like they spend so much time with Akaza doing his whole backstory thing, right? For the main bad guy, though, the main final boss, right? They should have... The main villain of the entire series, that the whole build-up was facing him in the end. They should have done way more with his backstory, not just little glimpses and like here and there, right? They should have done a whole thing, like of all of the characters, all of the villains that they've fought. Muzan should have, his backstory, everything should have been way more in depth, and there should have been, it should have lasted longer. So that his defeat and just that fight overall, I mean, all of the demons, like all of the Hoshiro fighting him at once, that was pretty cool. I like that they gathered all of the remaining Hoshiro in like one final battle against the main bad guy. Really cool, but underwhelming, really underwhelming. And first of all, Tanjiro was knocked out like for half that fight. like, Muzan slashed him, and then his eye got all messed up, and then he was unconscious for like a few volumes, I think. Was it a few volumes? It was at least a volume that I think he was unconscious for. Yeah, so. Also, another thing that I totally forgot about, when Nezuko's whole thing, I think, so the whole thing with Nezuko that kind of made me mad, but it was sort of cool, but kind of made me mad at the same time, is when she gained her Sunwalker ability. That was just sort of thrown at us, and I felt like that might have been what kick-started the whole, alright, let's start giving stuff out and start rushing the series, you know. Nezuko gaining the Sunwalker thing sort of, like I said, kicked off the whole let's rush the rest of the story. So, was it cool? Sure. Like, you slowly see her start to become a demon, or become a human again, I guess because the sun burnt away her demon stuff. That wasn't explained too well either, I don't think. That should have been, again, more of a process and something that they... Yeah, it was just... Didn't like that a lot. I mean, it was cool when it happened, but looking back at it, it was just one of those things I was like, it should have had more time in the oven. So her with Urokodaki, and then running all the way to Tanjiro and at the fight. Yeah, I don't know. And she, at that point, she had become human again, but they should have lingered on that again, like her becoming a human. They should have. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys agree with me, do let me know, because I felt like Nezuko becoming a human was like the ultimate goal. Like, the two ultimate goals were killing Muzan, Nezuko becoming a human again. And then that whole process of Nezuko becoming human, very rushed, then Muzan being overwhelming, and made the ultimate goal seem like, you know. Like, there was almost no payoff. And then almost everybody dies. Genya dies. Tokido dies. Himejima dies. Shinobu dies. Who else freaking dies? Tamayo dies. Like, everybody almost dies. I think, who else dies? Freaking Mitsuri dies. Iguro dies. Almost everybody, all of the Hoshiro are dead. And by the end of it, the only Hoshiro left standing are Sanemi, or Shinigazawa, and then Giyu. And then I guess Tengen, if you count him, he's a retired Hoshiro, but so he's not technically a remaining Hoshiro, but you could count him maybe. But as far as like currently enlisted Hoshiro, I guess the only remaining were Sanemi and Giyu. So everybody dies at the end here. And the part that kind of got me, right, we get at the end of the volume, after they give us this lackluster final battle, they throw at us, you know, oh, everybody finally is able to walk, you know, freely, all the demons are gone. And then they give us this whole, like, 100 something, like, hundreds of years later in modern day Tokyo, and we get their whole, like, great-great-great-grandchildren or whatever. It was cool that we get to see Tanjiro and stuff, the gang's descendants. But what I would really have liked was to have seen the characters we knew and loved older. Like, I don't mean like really old, but more like just adults, right? They sort of just throw at us at the end, you know, oh, by the way, Tanjiro and Kanawo got together. Also, Zenitsu and, what's her name? Nezuko got together. Oh, yeah, by the way, Aoi and Nosuke are a thing now. Like, if they would have done a whole scene at the end, very end of the volume, where it showed them all as adults, and, like, they sort of explained that more, I felt like maybe that is a little bit fan service, but the whole, I don't know, the whole Descendants thing that happened at the end was sort of stupid. I felt like that was unnecessary, and I would have much rather wanted to see the main characters as adults. That was a wasted opportunity, and like the whole Tanjiro Kano, like their whole ship, I guess, I felt like was also a wasted opportunity. They could have done something with that. And yeah, I talked about before how I was sort of glad that they, not really glad, but liked in a sense that they sort of saved all like the romance stuff until the very end and just kind of threw it at you. But at the same time, it was a wasted opportunity. It would have, the fan service would have made up a little bit for that crappy ending, that crappy final battle, but they didn't even do that. So yeah, the Descendants was sort of cool, but definitely should have been replaced. Rather than seeing like their great grandchildren, we should have seen the main characters older and together hanging out, and then they should have explained, like we should have seen, like if they're just gonna, Tanjiro is the main character, how are they just gonna tell us after the fact that him and Kano got together? Like we should have seen like a wedding or something, right? No, we didn't get that at all. Sorry, I got interrupted there. But yeah, my boy Inosuke didn't get nothing. Like they just kind of, there was that one little teeny bit at the very end when Aoi made him food, and because he was stealing everybody else's food, and then Aoi gave him his own food, and that's supposed to justify their whole relationship, I guess. Which, I guess it's Inosuke, so it makes sort of sense, but they could have threw us a bone there. Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of the ships made. You know, that made sense. And before, I didn't really know about Demon Slayer as a series. Like with other series, I feel like when it comes to like shipping, you can sort of like be like, oh yeah, I ship this character and this character. But for Demon Slayer, there wasn't a lot of great picks. I felt like there wasn't a lot that you could do, but I guess that narrowed it down quite a bit. And I agree with all of the picks. Sorry guys, again I got interrupted. You know how it be on this channel, getting interrupted every 2 seconds. But yeah, overall, Demon Slayer as a series, I think, as a manga series specifically, is quite good. The ending, I like the very, like the concept at the end, you know, the whole, all right, everybody, the demons are finally gone, we're all gonna, you know, chill, you know, the Hoshiro are disbanded, and they're gonna go find and do something else with their lives now. Main character Tanjiro, you know, the main character settled down, have children, that whole thing, that's good. I like that idea. We should have seen the process, though, of all of that happening. We shouldn't just skip 100 years or skip a few hundred years and see their descendants and have them loosely explain what happened. Like, we should have seen that process, you know. So, ending wasn't executed well. I could see the idea, you know. I could see it's there. Just was not executed well at all. Again, I don't know exactly why it was so rushed. Maybe just the creator felt very pressured. Either that, I haven't really looked into it too much. Maybe the manga was on the chopping block. I know it was to begin with. Demon Slayer was on the chopping block, and then it got an anime adaptation and then blew up, and then they decided not to cut it from Shonen Jump. But yeah, I don't know exactly why it was rushed at all, but it just was. So maybe there was something we didn't know, that or unknown reason why. But yeah, the ships in the series at the end, valid, I will say, and everything, pretty much everything that happens before the Hoshiro Training Arc is like solid shonen manga right there. art style, not the most detailed, and not the prettiest art, but simplistic enough, and it still gets the point across, I guess. I didn't have a problem with the art style at all, to be honest. And the whole basic plot of it being so simple wasn't a problem for me either. Pretty much the entire, like I said, everything that happens before the Hoshiro Training Arc is almost perfect, I thought. But after that wasn't, again, it was for some reason rushed, and they kind of flopped the rest of the series. Arguably, I mean, other than the beginning, the ending, is one of the most important things for a series, and it just flopped. So, again, that can determine whether or not a show is good or bad for somebody, or a manga in this case. Any series, honestly, like a normal chapter book, normal comic book, even, like anything, a cartoon, a manga, an anime. I feel like the ending can determine the ending determines a lot for a lot of people. Personally, the ending, might leave a bad taste in my mouth, but we got to appreciate that everything that they did before was very good. So, overall, the Demon Slayer manga, subjectively, was like, out of 10. I'm hesitant to give it an 8 out of 10, because I feel like that's a little high, to be honest. Like I said, subjectively, because personally, the Demon Slayer manga, for me, it's like a 9 out of 10. Like, I really like Demon Slayer, but I've got to look at everything that's presented here. I think I might give it a 7.8 out of 10. That sounds pretty fair. But yeah, the ending needed work, and that's one of the only things that ruined its score from being really a 10 out of 10 series, was that ending. Now, I had a discussion on Discord about the ending and whatnot. If they were to do in the anime, because the anime first season is spectacular. I can only imagine that the rest of it's going to look good. But the plot direction, I think is definitely, if the movie is anything to go off of, for somebody who wasn't the biggest fan of the Mugen Train arc, and the movie made a big difference for me, I thought the movie was spectacular. I loved the movie, and it was much better than the manga in that scene. I say that scene, but that arc. I feel like the anime will do a lot more for the series than the manga ever could for itself, because most of the Demon Slayer fans are coming off of coming from the anime, so I can definitely see the anime being much better, and maybe I've heard people say that maybe if there was an alternate ending for the anime, we've seen this with other shows, none come to mind, but I know several shows, from their manga or anime have an alternate ending. I know Full Metal Alchemist, I don't know if the ending is different. I'm not exactly sure if Full Metal Alchemist from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is different in their ending, but I know that, they are significantly different. But yeah, I'm just not sure about the series at the moment. I still will personally love it. It has such great characters. I love basically all of the Demon Slayer characters, and the series I thought was really good. And I can't wait for the anime to come out for season 2, because I feel like at that point I'll really start to like it a lot more again. But I'm just cautious, I guess, am skeptical of what's going to happen for the ending of the anime, because the ending of the manga was widely negatively received. So if they see that, they still have a lot of time before they finish up the anime. So I don't know what they'll do with it, but yeah, I know overall, yeah, like I said, that's just what I think. This video has been longer, and that was kind of the whole point of this video. It's just for me to give my full thoughts. I sort of rambled on maybe a bit. It was supposed to be sort of chatty, just sort of like almost me like, oh, there's the fly again. I need to go kill that thing. Almost me, I wouldn't say venting or ranting, but just sort of brain dumping everything that I've experienced with the manga so far. I say so far, but as a whole. So definitely a long video. Yeah, but that's overall, that's just what I think of the series. Again, I really liked it. I'm a huge Demon Slayer fan, but subjectively, that ending made it, again, big difference. If it ended good, it would have been. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, I know this isn't a type of video I do normally, but yeah, I just thought I wanted to make this video. And for Demon Slayer, Demon Slayer is a series that I hold close to my heart just because I liked it so much. And if I was to do this sort of video for any series, I think it would be Demon Slayer. Either that or like JoJo, like my two favorite series, or Naruto even. I really like Naruto, but Demon Slayer, I'm a huge fan. So, and coming from a fan, the ending, still can't really get over that. But yeah, we should have normal manga review coming out, episode 30. It's crazy that we're already on episode 30. I think that by Christmas we should at least be on episode 60, if not, if I'm really reading manga, and hopefully I don't run out of manga, which I've got a massive backlog by the looks of it. I still got to read Black Clover. Still got a bit of Naruto to read. I've got Rent a Girlfriend volumes. I'll be reading JoJo, some One Piece, so I got quite a bit to read. But I hope I just don't run out of manga. I also know that, my birthday is coming up here in October, and I'll be buying a bunch of manga. So I don't think we'll run out, but we'll see. I think that by Christmas, though, we should be at least episode 60, because we started this series January. At first it was sort of slow with manga review, but now I've been really pumping out manga review lately. I think that by December, like by Christmas, we should be really up there. But yeah, again, kind of went off talking. I always do this. This is going to be about it for today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you agreed with me on any of my points and just want to talk about Demon Slayer, if you're a fan of Demon Slayer and just want to talk about it, let me know in the comments, because yeah, I don't know. But anyways, like I said, end the video, so I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.